because the good people of the United States are sick of it. They're sick of you freeloaders, good for nothings, because you're just a waste of flesh. And you're just parasites. I don't even want to compare you to animals, because you're worse than that. Animals have a function. Animals are beautiful. You people are just virus, parasitic creatures that should have probably never been born. Anyways, the way I would solve the problem of all you fraudulent little idiots, low IQ, waste of breath, is mandatory drug testing randomly. If you're caught on drugs, you get nothing. No smoking. Nothing that is a luxury or anything that you can live without. You will live in barracks, just like the military. If it's good enough for the military, it's damn well good enough for you. You will get fed what you're given, and you will have no choice in the matter. And it will be all healthy items. No chips, no soda. That way we can cut back on all your, medical bills and everything like that for all you obese, just whales. Whales. Land whales. That's what you are. And, it would be mandatory birth control also. No children. No children while you are on the system. If you can't feed them, you're not going to breed them. And you're so lucky I am not in charge of this, because it would be like the military. And mandatory community service. You would wait on everybody else hand and foot. Whatever needs to be done in the community. That is, a direct function of society. You're going to be of some use. And then that way, poverty will be a thing of the past, pretty much. I mean, there'll still be some people in poverty, but they're going to be the hardworking people that just fall on hard times or whatever. But it isn't going to be this generational, just sponging off of everybody else that's working and that have worked and are, good for society, unlike you. So yeah, you're just parasites, and I think parasites might even be better than what you are. Because the way you're going on and on and on about how you're going to rob people, you're going to kill people, you're going to, cannibalize white crackers. And if I could say the words that I want to say on these platforms, I would. But then I'll get banned, and then I can't voice my opinion. But you people need to get a life. You need to get an IQ, which will never happen. And it's been generational. And the more you breed and breed, the less IQ you have. Because it's just bad IQ, breeding with bad IQ. And it just gets worse and worse as it goes on. So, yeah. You would not like the system that I have in mind. Not at all. So, everybody that's a decent person on the system, more power to you, really. And I feel for you. But most of you, you don't need it. And I know this for a fact because I have family members and neighbors that are on the system, and they do not need it at all. They're just leeches. Just pure leeches. So, get a life, people. Get your shit under control. And stop feeding off of the rest of us. And our hard work. And our dollars that we put into the system that you never put into the system. So, go get a life. Bye-bye.
So, it's crazy when white people call black brothers and sisters parasites when they are loving each and everything about black people. They love our music, they love our style, our rhythm. The only thing that pisses them off and they hate about black brothers and sisters is their existence. Their existence is causing, I guess, a state of uneasiness within the white community. These are people who have lived fully, or if not, at least a greater part of their existence has depended on the hard labor that came from our black brothers and sisters during the time of slavery, the black culture, and the brilliance of our black brothers and sisters all through the centuries. Because truth be told, most of the wealth that is amassed in the US and most parts of the world generally were made up by the efforts of black people, because these are the same people who were taken in as slaves and were meant or were made to build infrastructures, were made to do all the hard works, produce a lot of commodities, and yet they end up calling black people parasites. For a well-thinking person, they know too clearly that the black people are not the parasites. These people have depended on us for the longest time, for centuries, to get things done, only for them now to call us parasites. That's the most, I'd say, that's the most hypocritical thing I've heard somebody say. And those are the most hypocritical actions that people are trying to reveal. Kindly watch with me the whole video, and I'll give you my final remarks towards the end of the video. Kindly tune in.
Let's go ahead and wrap this shit up, shall we? This is the second and final part, honey, of Little Miss Charlie's Avengers over here. To catch everyone up to speed, Little Miss Charlie's Avengers, aka Susan, believes that everyone on government assistance are parasites. They're less than human. She thinks we need to bring back a form of slavery for them, put them in concentration camps. When I tell y'all Little Miss Susan, honey, was in straight panic mode yesterday, she must have commented to me about 40 or 50 times, tried to follow me like 5 or 6 times, like, oh, why are you following me? Then she tried to threaten me with the I can do some investigating too. Sweetie, let me help you out. 3-time convicted felon over here, former addict. Turned my life around, honey, did a complete 180, and now I spend my life servicing my community and calling out hateful bitches like you. All one need do, honey, is scroll my videos, as you did, to see that I stand in my truth. Something hateful, venomous maggots like you know absolutely nothing about. Are we good now? Are we all caught up? Good. Now let's focus back on you. So Little Miss Charlie's Avengers tried to say that I had the wrong person. We're not going to do that, Susan. Because, see, when you look someone up the way that I did, it's going to show all of your neighbors' names, it's going to show your acquaintances' names, and it's going to show family members' names. And when I go to your Facebook, boom, there's one. So I proceed to look up the rest of those names, and lo and behold, there they all are. Furthermore, sweetie, if it weren't you, you wouldn't have tried to do damage control here. Oh, and by the way, just because you removed the video from your page doesn't mean it no longer exists. Moving right along, I'm sure it'll come as no big surprise to anyone that Susan is also a racist, although she'll tell you she's not because, in her words, they are good black. But if you're not racist, Susan, why were you liking all of the racist comments and laughing at them and using racist tropes and dog whistles as you did here? And of course, true to form, like all hateful, venomous maggots do, Susan decided to toss in a lie to back up her bullshit. Susan said that before her dad passed, he tried to go and get welfare, but they told him that he was the wrong color. And when someone asked her, oh, what's the right color? Susan said that they told him he wasn't black. Susan, welfare was created for white people. Pumpkin, there are more white people collecting welfare and government assistance than all races combined. Then Susan went on to say 2 things that I'm going to connect here for you. Susan said she hates drug addicts and they should not receive welfare. Susan also stated that she absolutely despises criminals, which is quite odd, Susan, because when I look at who owns your house, there's a gentleman by the name of Michael. Now, I'm not going to drop his last name because he only has something to do with this by proxy. But correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Michael a bit of a felon himself? Had a little problem with that booger sugar, did he? And he resides in that home, am I correct? Must kill you to live in such proximity to a criminal, an addict. Then Susan went on to say that quite a few of her family members are abusing the welfare system. Oh, how you must hate them. Susan, let's be very clear here. You are not part of the elite. You didn't know what money was until you married a dentist. Speaking of which, now I'm not sure which of these two it is, but I think we should find out. Susan also stated that she has businesses online. I see that you have a connection with Globetrotter Properties. I'm not sure what it is, but I think it's worth looking into. I also see that you have some sort of travel thing going. Sue at Anderson Travel. If anyone knows how to look into LLCs, please let me know. Susan, I don't know what happened to you in your life to make you such a hateful person, but here's hoping you have the absolute day that you deserve.
This warrior of God is talking about how she's sick and tired of poor people eating. That is what the monotheism is it is excuses to be terrible to other human beings under the pretense of being kind. We are tired. Real Americans who aren't worshiping an unconstitutional pedo are sick and fucking tired of the monotheism dictating our lives. It's fucking over. Expect us.
Freeloaders, good for nothings, because you're just a waste of flesh, and you're just parasites.
You need to watch that whole video because it is far worse than what you just witnessed. And if you follow me, you know what comes next. So I did a little digging, but because I like to be 100% sure that I found the right person, I simply asked her. And she was kind enough to confirm making this video. As you can see down here below, Susan seems to think she's being doxxed. So she's trying to rally the troops. Help me get her back. Susan, sweetie, I'm going to need you to look up the definition of doxing. Doxing would entail me releasing your personal information, such as your phone number, your address, your neighbors' names, all of your family members' names, the picture of your house, all of which I have in my possession. And if I were to release any of that information, that, my dear, would be doxing. But public information, that is a horse of a completely different color. Hello, Susan Wendelkin. Now, I noticed on your LinkedIn, it says you're a dental office manager for a Dr. Anderson. And from your many, many aliases, I was able to determine that you're married to someone with the last name of Anderson. Why would one person need so many aliases, Susan? We'll get into that later if I need to. See, by you working in a dental office, that concerned me greatly. Because if you're online spewing this kind of hateful venom, how are you treating the patient? And judging by the reviews, there seems to be one common denominator. And well, that's you, Susan. They've all come to the conclusion that you are rude and disrespectful. Judging by the behavior that you're exhibiting online, I'm going to have to agree with them, Susan. But what concerns me even more is the fact that that dentist accepts Medicaid and Medicare. And as everyone knows, most people that get Medicaid and Medicare are also on welfare. So it concerns me greatly, Susan. How are you treating those people when you find out that they're receiving Medicaid and Medicare? So I think we should find out. Now, I also found emails linking you to Globetrotter Property. Because it's Saturday, I can't find out just yet how you're affiliated with them. Oh, alas, this will have to be continued Monday. And of course, everyone that follows me, you know I keep a couple aces up my sleeve. You don't just put it all on the table at once.
Hey everyone, this is to all the welfare queens.
So you're talking about your MAGA sisters who live in red states who are being affected by losing their SNAP benefits.
Welcome back again, guys. And I feel like white people don't understand the fact that poor conditions don't choose whose door to knock on. Poor conditions hit you whether you're white or black, you see. So the level of hypocrisy that one comes out and generalizes a whole community to be parasites while nobody has tried depending on her directly, it's some shady work. It's some bad and ugly statement that she had put across. That's not anything that a person in their right senses should be taking a camera and putting it in front of her or him and saying, because It's just some crazy work. Because if you see, these are people who don't recognize or have decided to be very ignorant to the fact that most infrastructures in Europe and the US were mostly built up by black people. And it's so crazy that now the descendants of the same black people are being called lazy, are being called parasites. So they are trying to put a blind eye towards the fact that whatever they're enjoying now was the sweat and effort of the black man that now they are calling lazy, while they themselves cannot have everything they want because they are also struggling, you see. So calling somebody else lazy while walking on the same road that their forefathers were put or forced to build, and they did it wholeheartedly, even though forced, so that it could serve you centuries later on, is something that I cannot comprehend, because I don't understand the level of hypocrisy you're trying to dispense out here. The same white people, when they live in poor conditions and they live in a deteriorated environment, they tend to brandish the situation as economic hardship. But when a black person is put into the same condition and he or she maybe is going through some hardship, they call it lazy. He's branded as somebody who don't want to work for himself and build something for himself. That shows you how much the double standards have gone up, and people have decided to try to justify unreasonable things just to seem relevant. So history is so clear that most people, or most white people all over the world, not only in America but all over the world, most white communities benefited from black people services, from infrastructure, cotton farms, and any other services they got from the black people. They used it to build themselves and let the black people perish in poverty. So now you're wondering, between the two communities, who is the real parasite? Because you might call somebody or black people parasites now, but you've been parasites for centuries. Whatever they are forgetting is that even with close to no generational wealth, black people have always found a way to thrive, to make themselves, to make a name out there for themselves, and have created and innovated a number of things. And this is not an act of parasitism. This is an act of resilience. This is someone who goes down and gets up to fight another day. He doesn't give up. He doesn't allow his situation take over him. They decide to get up and make a name for them and build up their structures and their businesses from scratch without any other people's assistance. That's what I will say is resilience. Resilience of the highest order that most white people that depend on generational wealth and now maybe they aren't in the same position that they thought they could be in, are feeling or are envious of. These are people who are jealous of black people thriving. And that's why when somebody goes through a short period of misfortunes and maybe they are not well economically, they tend to call them lazy. That's more of removing a speck from somebody else's eyes while you have a whole log in your own eye. You need to first of all do your part, clear your own side, then try to rectify somebody else. When white people call black people parasitic and they live off the black people's donation, is more of a parasitic tendency to whatever they are trying to insinuate, because you can't call somebody else parasitic while they are helping you exist, they are helping you survive day to day. That's same white people that accuse or call black people lazy and parasitic are also suffering from drug addictions, inadequate opportunities, unemployment, and that is something that they cannot talk about in the limelight. These are people who are based on black people. They can't let black people have their own time alone and solve their own problem as a community. They have to put their noses inside somebody else's business to gain relevance or to gain popularity. I'll close by saying that they built their own comfort on black man's struggles, and black people are done being silent. We are done being tossed around and being called names. We are now reclaiming our power and our history and our energy. So kindly all stay woke and kindly like, share and subscribe to the channel, and let us all grow together. Leave me your comments on the comment section and I'll sure get back to you. Goodbye, guys.